Welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing, an inside look at foster care and adoption needs in Connecticut. My name is Jacqueline Ford. I have had the honor of working for the department for close to 30 years, and although I may be familiar with many of the topics I bring to you, I have invited experts in those fields to help dispel the myths and misconceptions that often act as barriers. Join us as we open our doors to an inside look at the Department of Children and Families. Welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing. Sheena and Lynn, it's a pleasure to have you here today. I thought it was really important for our viewers to get to know both of you and to hear about your life story and what brought you and I to be connected, where our journey has taken us. And when I thought with such gratitude about what both of you have offered to DCF, the one thing that was in common is that you both had experience in the foster care system as children, and here you are as adults, and you're still continuing to be involved with the Child Welfare Agency through DCF in Connecticut. And I wanted our viewers to hear about your journey in foster care and why you're still involved with our agency on your own terms, on terms that make you feel that you're giving back and you're making a difference. So Sheena, I'm going to begin with you. Can you tell us about your foster care experience? How old were you when you came into foster care, and a little bit about your journey?
Okay, Jackie. So I entered the system about 5 or 6 years old, and I was a late adoptee, so I was adopted at 15. And my experience was pretty much, it was challenging, but along the way I had a lapse in education and gone through different caretakers and households, but I feel like it molded me to be who I am today, and the journey that it took for me to get here today, I think it helped me facilitate and to navigate through life.
Well, and I believe, in us both knowing Amy, your social worker at DCF, that many years ago, that you're able to say that you came from, this point of being so vulnerable and feeling, lonely, because, as we know, that children that are removed from their family's care, we do that to make sure that the children are safe while the families work to become healthy again and implementing supports and resources. And we've become a stronger agency over these years since you were that 5 or 6 year old. But tell us about your relationship with your social worker, with Amy. My
relationship with Amy, I remember meeting her, and I feel like we fell in love and in the aspect of a friendship, and she gave me hope, and she held my hand through every step of the way. And even to this day, at almost 30 years old, just because she left DCF, and she still continued to be my mentor and help me navigate through all stages of life, a child, teenager, adult life, and she really helped set the tone for a more consistent role model in my life.
How lucky you are to have had her, in all places in your life through your experience with DCF. That doesn't always happen, where you have that consistency and that feeling of that same person. If we can all have that person, my person, when you go through, the difficult times that you had. So I'm glad that you had that support with Amy and that you had a good experience with DCF. And then you said you were adopted when you were 15. That must have been a difficult age to be adopted.
Yeah, I feel like throughout the system, being, for so long in it and transferring to each home to different homes and here and there, I feel like when I found my forever family and my forever home, that I was blessed, that my foster mother, Brenda Davis, had wanted to adopt me at such an older age, like I'm a teenager now. I got adopted at 15, and not many can say that. They either age out or become emancipated. So I think I'm blessed in that sense.
You definitely are. And Lynn, so, we became connected, and we're going to get into that a little bit later in our adult lives, right? I didn't know you as a child growing up in the system, but I understand that you too were a foster child. Can you tell us about your experience in foster care? I believe it was in another state.
Yes, I was in the system in New York some time ago, so it was a little different. But I went into foster care when I was 13, and I aged out, so I left care right before I turned 18, after I graduated from high school, and moved out of state. From there on, it took many years for me to get on track and get to where I am now, but it's all good.
Did you come into care as a teenager with siblings, or were you?
I did. I had, before I was in care, I lived with 3 other siblings, and 2 of them went to live with their father, and I was placed with my sister, luckily, because we know that siblings don't always get to be placed together, so we were lucky.
And did she age out of the system as well?
She did, yes.
So now here you are, 18 years old, and you don't have the state agency really telling you what you can and what you can't do. Did you find it hard to become independent, to have that level of independence so quickly?
Well, as a teenager and even before I was in care, I was pretty independent. I grew up in a situation where I cared for my younger siblings, so I was kind of always playing the mother role. A lot of things came naturally. It was hard because at 18 you don't know a lot about the world, even though you think you do. But I was lucky enough to have some people come into my life that were able to help me through that transition.
That's wonderful. And did you go to college?
I did not go to college until just a few years ago. Yes. So, no, I went straight into the workforce for a company that I'm still with 28 years later.
So we're going to get back to that.
Yes.
So let's hold on there. So Sheena, so now you're adopted, and you finished high school, and did you go to college?
I did. I went to Gateway Community College in New Haven, Connecticut, and I graduated with my associate degree in 2020 with food service restaurant management.
And you have a love of baking. Tell us about that.
My love of baking, I was in a foster home at the time, and the foster mother that was caring for me, she did a lot of baking and cooking as I was growing up in her household, and I just fell in love with it all, and different plates and stuff you can put together. It's just like edible art, and it's therapeutic.
Mm-hmm. So that was where you first were introduced to that.
Mm-hmm.
So now what do you hope to be? What do you want to do with that degree?
So my hopes is to basically own a bakery one day, and within that bakery I want to have workshops and work with family and children and work on their social cues, and just show them how it's a life skill. So I think cooking and baking is important to have under your belt to get through life. And it's, like I said, it's therapy. It's edible art. You're sharing with others, and what's not to love? Food is great.
Food is great. And as someone who has tasted your cupcakes, they are very delicious.
Thanks.
So Sheena, like I said when we opened up our show today, that I wanted to have both of you on the show to talk about the ways in which you give back to the agency. So you have, aside from having some jobs, paid jobs, where you were able to provide us with a dessert that we shared with the community and through events or with other foster children, you've also dedicated a lot of time volunteering. We'll talk about what it is you've done for our department, but what made you want to do that? What made you want to, there's so many different places that you could volunteer and you could give back to with your time and your heart. Why have you chosen DCF for so many years?
I chosen you guys, DCF, because I have a love for people, and I also feel like because people have helped me and molded me to the person I am today, I think within community it's coming together and sharing your gift with others and seeing how you guys made a change in my life, I want to do the same in return. It may not be within social work, but I feel like my gift to someone else in the system can help as well.
Well, you talked about a few minutes ago about edible, art.
Yeah.
That the whole process of cooking and food could be very therapeutic. And let's go back to that moment where you were on this show and you did a cooking segment because we found a teenager who was looking for their forever home, and they had an interest in cooking. So Sheena had a cooking segment in the studio, and she taught that young person how to make, I think it was an apple crisp.
Yes, it was a stovetop for 2 apple crisps.
Yes. So how did that make you feel in working with a youth? Did you see yourself at any moment during those experiences?
I feel like working with Dasani, that's their name, they have given me such hope, and I think with the experience and meeting them, it was a full circle moment. And just to know that they have the same love and passion as I do and kind of similar upbringings, I think that really just made my heart smile for her. And I hope all is well, and I pray that they're doing great.
Well, thank you. That was definitely a pivotal moment, I know, even for myself, having known you for so many years, and to see you be able to step into that mentoring role and really inspire someone, because oftentimes, our youth they may feel as if they're not going to make it, or how am I going to survive in this child welfare system, with the supports that I have, how can I be successful? And they see someone like you who not that long ago was in a very similar situation as that youth is, and you made it through high school and you graduated college and you're doing wonderfully.
Thanks.
Yes, so we'll get back to you again. So Lynn, tell us about what kind of work you do.
Well, I work in retail for a large company, and I oversee an area of stores, multiple stores. So my resources to be able to reach out and do things expands more than just one store. So I have a lot of different resources that I'm able to use, and my company provides a lot of resources to give back to the community, so I take full advantage.
Yeah, well, and I have been the recipient of some of those items that you've been able to donate. I think our connection began during Adoption Awareness Month and teddy bears or stuffed animals, because we wanted to give any child that was being adopted that month, because now November is National Adoption Awareness Month, a new stuffed animal to kind of celebrate and commemorate that moment. So I think that's where our connection began, and you, through your work in community engagement, have been so generous with our department. And then I think that along that way you also became a foster mom.
I did. Through the different events we had, COVID hit, and that kind of restricted what we were able to do as far as fundraising and donations. So through that process, when I was doing all the research to present to my company to get those donations approved, I learned a lot of facts and statistics about foster care in Connecticut, and it tugged at my heart. It blew me away. And coming from the system, you think, well, it should only be getting better, but it's not, unfortunately. There's a lot of gaps and holes and needs in the system. So when COVID hit, I found myself home a lot, like everybody else. And that gave me the opportunity to start the journey into my training and being licensed as a foster parent.
Well, I thank you for that. You're making, a significant difference in the life of, I think you're fostering a teenager too, right?
Yes. I primarily focus on teenagers because that's what I was when I went into the system. And there's a great need for homes that are willing to accept teenagers.
Well, Sheena, if any of our viewers are watching us now, and you could answer this question from the perspective of what you think you needed as a teenager, what would you tell somebody who's watching us right now and thinking, I want to be a foster parent, but I'm not sure if I can?
I think just to think about it and kind of put yourself in their shoes and how they feel. Everyone deserves a loving home, a forever home to go to at the end of the day. And I think it's great to just give back and just to know that you're restoring hope in their lives and you're helping children in need and taking them in for forever, basically.
They're happily ever after.
Yes.
So now I want to talk to you both about this upcoming holiday season and how instrumental your outreach is for our department. So you're offering to give some donations for the children and families that we serve. So Sheena, you're going to be doing a toy drive,
the hosting
right?
as
so
well.
Tell me a little bit about your toy drive.
So I am accepting birth to 18 new toys and gift cards for children in need within the department, and I will be giving that back. The deadline for that is December 9th. So I'm excited for a child to receive a new toy or a gift card just so they can see, like when I was a child in the system, sometimes the parent or just throughout you didn't get much in the holiday time. So to get something is really thoughtful, and they're going to be so happy to get something new.
They will, and I'm happy to be the recipient of that. And Lynn, I know that through your work, you're going to be helping to make the holidays special for our families.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Every month, my market chooses a community engagement event. 2 months ago, we did the ball drive for DCF and was able to provide almost 200 sports balls, basketballs, footballs, soccer balls for DCF. And for the month of November, we are also going to be doing a toy drive and gift cards for children. As well as the toys that I purchase throughout the year that are taking up my dining room. But our associates are very giving. They are quick to step up when it's asked. So I can't ask for better people to be working with.
Well, and I can't ask for two better people to, to be really a part of our collaborative team. We're collaborating with people in the community who help us tremendously the way that you both do with your time and your heart and in your talents. It makes such a significant difference. So I'd like to share with you as we close our segment today that the donations that you receive, Sheena, the toys and whatever you're able to donate, like the balls that you just did and the bikes that we recently received, we have a space called the Olive Branch. And this is a community space where it's a store. It's a storefront that's been gifted during the holiday season to collect all of the toys that are received throughout the state of Connecticut during the holiday season. Mm-hmm. And the toys are all sorted and they're unwrapped. And what we do, which is a little bit different because a lot of our work that we speak of is often around foster care and foster children. And we're grateful to have so many wonderful foster parents like yourself, Lynn, who ensure that the children that you're caring for are going to have a wonderful holiday season. So the Olive Branch is primarily developed, and the initiative is for our in-home service families. So those families that have an open DCF case where the social worker is working with them, empowering them to be self-sufficient, providing them with the tools and resources to be healthy families, while we relieve one burden of purchasing that gift for their children for the holiday season. So these families are invited in by appointment only, without their children, to shop for free, to look around the store and pick out those items that they know that their child will like. And then we have a gift wrapping station where they can gift wrap their gifts, and then they leave that store with integrity and feeling as if they had a hand in creating that holiday joy for their children. Although they receive many gifts and donations from the community, oftentimes it may be a bag of toys or gifts that are gender specific or age specific, but it might not be something that their child likes. So the intention of this store that GCF has is to invite families to come in and shop for their children because they know best what their children like. So they come in, they have a cup of coffee, they browse, they gift wrap, and they leave. Awesome. And they're so grateful. This will be our second season doing that. So I want to thank both of you for having a hand in creating that holiday joy for those families. Thank you all for watching Doors to Hope and Healing. If anybody is interested in learning more, you can feel free to email me at jacqueline.ford@ct.gov.
Thank you.
The Saybrook Fish House in Canton has been serving fresh seafood, chicken, and steak entrees for 34 years, offering 3 cozy dining room settings, a newly renovated pub with craft beer, wine by the glass, specialty cocktails, and a lighter fare menu. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Reservations accepted for parties of 2 to 42, and gift certificates are also available. The Saybrook Fish House, nestled at the crossroads of Route 44, 202, and 179 in Canton.